Today we're going to look at how we can solve quadratic equations using factorization method and also using the formula method. So it's a kind of a factorization method versus formula method in quadratic equations. So here we are going to solve three questions using the factorization method and also using the formula method. All right. So in one of my videos, if you go back to check, you're going to see that we derived the formula method of solving quadratic equations. All right. So today we are just going to focus on the factorization method and the formula method. Question. The first question: y squared plus 20y minus 125 equals to 0. We're going to solve this using factorization method as well as the formula method. In factorization method, what's the first step we take? Of course, the first step we take, multiply the first term and the last term. When you multiply the first term and the last term, sometimes this is called the scissors method. All right. So that is going to give you minus 125 y squared. All right. Now the second thing you do is find the factors of minus 125 y squared such that when you add those factors, it will give you plus 20y. It's going to give you plus 20y. So what could those factors be? There are many factors of minus 125 y squared, but the factors of minus 125 y squared such that when you add, it's going to give you plus 20y is we will have minus 5 and we will also have plus 25. Minus 5y plus 25y. Check it out. If you multiply this, it's going to give you minus 125y squared. And if you add, it will give you the middle term. Minus 5y plus 25y. Check it out. It will give you 20y squared. So these two factors are correct. Yes. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to replace the middle term with these two factors. Replacing the middle term, this becomes y squared minus 5y, all right, plus 25y minus 125 equals to 0. So that we don't mix it up, equals to 0. All right, so you can see here that these two terms have replaced, plus 20y have been replaced by these two terms. So 1, 2, 3 terms becomes 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to group these terms into two groups. The first group of 2 and the second group of 2. So we are going to factorize each of these groups. Factorizing the first group, you can see the highest common factor here is y into y minus 5. The highest common factor here is, you can see, plus 25 into, how do I get what is in the bracket? 25y divided by plus 25 gives you y minus 25 divided by minus 125 divided by plus 25 is going to give you minus 5 equals to 0. So you can note something is happening right here. What's happening here is that y minus 5 repeats itself, and because y minus 5 repeats itself, we are going to take that as a factor. It's present here and present here. So this is a term on its own, and this is a term on its own. All right. So the highest common factor here will be y minus 5. So what we are doing here is like factorizing again. All right. And we open another bracket for what we have outside the bracket, and that is y. And then here is plus 25 equals to 0. to check the authenticity of these factors, if you open this bracket by expansion, it should take you back to this expression on the left hand side. So we are almost done, but if you look at this, you will see that in solving a quadratic equation, we must arrive at two answers. So how are we going to go about that? This term times this term gives you 0. This gives rise to two possible answers. For the product of these two terms to give you 0, it is either this term is 0 or this term is 0. That gives rise to case 1 and case 2. Or you can say that gives rise to the fact that you're going to have two different answers for y. Because if this is equal to 0, y will have an answer, and if this is equal to 0, y will also have an answer. So quadratic equations will give you two answers. Now let's investigate to get to the answer. So from that point, it is either this term is 0, we have the first case, or this term is 0. Now, in the first case, if y minus 5 is 0, of course, that is going to be y equals to 0 plus 5. So, minus 5 crosses over and becomes a plus 5. So, y is equals to 5. Or, in case 2, if y plus 25 is equal to 0, you're going to have y equals to 0 minus 25. That means that y is equals to minus 25. All right. So you can see here that for each of those terms to be 0, these must be the value of y. So quadratic equations, when solved, the variable will have two answers. Via factorization, we have arrived at our answers. Now, we are going to look at the same question via formula method, which I derived in one of my first videos, which I encourage you to check out. Via formula method, which we have derived this formula, if we are looking for the values of the variable in the quadratic equation, we have the formula minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, for a quadratic equation of the form ax squared plus bx plus c, ax squared plus bx plus c. But of course, in this equation, you can see that what we are having is ay squared plus by plus c. This should not confuse you. The variable can change. It could be y, it could be z, it could be x, it could be t. All right. That's why I presented it as y1, 2, because of the plus or minus. That will give rise to two cases, just as we saw in the factorization method. So no cause for alarm. Stay tuned on this. All right. So you can see that a is a coefficient of y squared, and for that same question, the coefficient of y squared here is 1. B is the coefficient of y, and for that question, the coefficient of y is plus 20, or simply 20. Right? And C, you can see plus C here, but this is like saying plus minus 25. Of course, plus minus 25 is anything as minus 25. So the value of C is minus 125. Minus 125. Note that correction. All right. So we proceed. So we are going to use this formula method to solve that quadratic equation. We begin. Remember, y12 equals to minus b. If b was plus 20, that will be minus into plus 20. The same thing as minus 20. All right? Plus or minus. Don't get worried about the plus or minus. The plus is for case 1, but the minus is for case 2. We will get to that as we proceed. All right. So square root of b squared, that's plus 20 all square, plus 20 all square is the same thing as 20 square. That is no cause for alarm. All right. And minus 4 times a, a is 1 times c is minus 125 all over 2a, 2a, that's 2 times 1. So y12 will give us minus b, minus times plus, that's minus 20 plus or minus square root of. So if you check that well, you would agree with me that the square root of 20 is 400. Should be compared with your calculators. Minus 4 times 1 is minus 4. And minus 4 times minus 125, that is going to give you, that will give you plus 600. Minus 4 times 1, that's minus 4. Minus times minus, that is plus. All right? So you have a positive answer. You're going to have a positive answer. Yes. You have a positive answer. If you complete the multiplication, what you have is 600. 500, not 600. 4 times 125, that's 500. Right. Minus times minus is plus. All over 2a, that's 2 times 1, that is 2. That is 2. Right. So, and this will become, of course, 400 plus 500, that's 900. So this is minus 20 plus or minus square root of 900 all over 2. From here, you can see that this gives you 20 plus or minus square root of 900 will give you 30 all over 2, right? All over 2. At this point, we can split the solutions into case 1 and case 2. So for case 1, that's the first value of y, you can see that y equals to 20. We can't solve plus and minus at the same time, so we pick the first sign, which is plus. Plus 30 all over 2. I plus 30 all over 2. All right. So you can see here that case 2 is y equals to 20. We pick the minus sign, minus 30 all over 2. 20 minus 30 all over 2. So from there, it is obvious that we establish that y equals to, now, I want you to note something. If you note something that we had established, you would see that the quadratic equation was talking about minus b. Let's not forget this. Minus b plus or minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a minus b. So this shouldn't stress you, just a bit of a correction. And my b was 20, so minus b is simply minus 20. Minus b is minus 20, so I'm going to have minus 20. And I'm going to have here minus 20. I'm going to have here minus 20. So Minus 20 plus 30, that gives me 10 all over 2. That gives me 5. So y is equals to 5. And minus 20 minus 30, that gives me minus 50 all over 2. Minus 50 all over 2. And that gives me minus 25. So y is equals to minus 25. So you can see that through factorization, we had y as 5 and y as minus 25. And formula method, we have in y as 5 and y as minus 25. So whichever method you use, you get the same answer. Alright. So the second question, y squared minus 21y plus 80 equals to 0. So we'll begin with factorization method. The first thing we're going to do, multiply the first term and the last term. And that will give you 80y squared. 80y squared. The next thing we're going to do, find the factors of 80y squared such that when you add, it's going to give you minus 21y. Minus 21y. So the two factors of 80y squared, that when you add, it's going to be minus 21y, is minus 16y and minus 5y. Minus 16y and minus 5y. If you multiply these two, it's going to give you 80y squared, and if you add, it's going to give you minus 21y. The next thing, we are going to replace minus 21y with these two factors. So replacing becomes y squared minus 16y plus minus 5y, of course plus minus is going to be minus 5y plus 80 equals to 0. Next we're going to do 1, 2, 3 terms have turned to 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. So those 4 terms, we are going to group it into the first group of 2 is y squared minus 16y, and the second group of 2 is minus 5y plus 80. But when you are grouping it into 2's, if this is a minus, always remember to leave it out so that we will bring it down and factorize. So factorizing this first group, the highest common factor here is y. So this becomes y into y minus 16. Bring down your minus, remember what I said? So minus, what the highest common factor here, if you look at this critically, you'll see that 5 is common. Yes. 5y divided by 5, that will give you y. Now, because there is a minus sign here, alright, to get the factor in this bracket, it's going to be plus 80 divided by minus 5. And that is going to give you minus 16. It's going to give you minus 16. Such that if you say minus 5 times minus 16, it's going to give you plus 80. You know, some students make the mistake of saying, because this is plus, you see that mistake, some students make that mistake. Because this is plus, they now say this is plus 16. So take note of that. When you have a minus sign here, you have a plus sign here. All right. So this is equals to 0 equals to 0. So you can see that these two terms, factorized terms, y minus 16 repeats itself. So we will factorize again. So that becomes the highest common factor. So taking that, because it's common, this is y minus 16. The terms outside into y minus 5. Y minus 5 equals to 0. Equals to 0. So at this point, you would agree with me that these are the factors of y squared and 21 plus 80. Let's get to the solution. Remember, we are going to have two answers. Moving forward, it is either y minus 16 is equal to 0 in the first case, or y minus 5 equals to 0 in the second case. So if y minus 16 equals to 0, that means that y equals to minus 16 crosses over, so this 0 plus 16, y is equals to 16. If y minus 5 is equals to 0, this is y equals to minus 5 crosses over the other side and becomes plus 5. So these are the solutions to this quadratic equation via factorization method. All right, so the next thing we're going to do now is we are going to look at formula method. Moving forward, via formula method. Remember this? And for this quadratic equation, the value of a is 1, that's the coefficient of y squared. Value of y is minus 21, that's value of b is minus 21, that's the coefficient of y. And the value of c is 80, that's the value of the constant. So slotting these values into the formula, substituting these values into the formula, we have y1 and 2 would give you minus b. So if b is minus 21, it's going to be minus into minus 21 plus or minus square root of b squared. B squared is minus 21 squared. Note, if you do this, you're going to mix it up, because if you punch minus 21 square in your calculator is going to give you minus 441, which is wrong. So the best way to represent this is minus 21 all squared. You see the correct way to represent this. All right. And minus 4 times a is 1 times c is 80. C is 80 all over 2a. That's 2 times 1. 2 times 1. So y 1, 2 will give you, you can see, minus 21 gives you plus 21. Plus or minus square root of, you can see this is 441. Plus 441, not minus 441. Minus 4 times 1 times 80, that is going to give you, minus 4 times 1 is minus 4, times 80 is minus 320. Minus 320. And if you do that subtraction well, 2 times 1 gives you 2. This will become 441 minus 320. That should give you 121. All right. If you punch that up, check that up, you're going to see that. All right. So moving forward, square root of 121 is going to give you 11. Remember, we still have a plus or minus. Right? So from there, in case 1, that means y is going to be 21 plus 11 or over 2. 21 plus 11, that gives you 32 or over 2. So I have 16. If you look at case 2, y is equal to 21 minus 11 or over 2. All right. 21 minus 11 is going to give you 10 y over 2. So y is 5. So you can agree with me. That y is 16 or 5. These are the two solutions for this quadratic equation. All right. So compare with factorization methods, you can see that we are arriving at the same answer. Let's move to the third question. And finally, 4y squared plus 5y minus 21 equals to 0. So in this case, we'll start with the factorization method. So the first thing, multiply the first term and the last term. The first term and the last term on the left-hand side, if you do that multiplication, that is going to give you 4 times 1, or 4 times minus 2, that's minus 8. So that is going to be minus 84 y squared. The next thing, find factors of minus 24 minus 84 y squared, such that when you add, it's going to give you the middle term. There are many factors of minus 84 y squared, but the factor that when you add, it will give you the middle term, plus 12y and minus 7y. Yes. So if you add this plus this, it's going to give you plus 5y. So the next thing, replace the middle term, with the sum of these factors. So replacing, that becomes 4y squared I'm not putting 5y anymore. What I'm replacing 5y with is plus 12y plus minus 7y. Look at this. Plus minus is minus. So that opens the bracket. So this is still the same thing as minus 7y. And a constant is minus 21 equal to 0. So 3 terms becomes 4 terms. I will group it into the first group of 2 and the second group of 2. Remember this minus? Remember this minus? Type of example that we did previously. All right. So factorizing the first group of 2, you are going to see that the highest common factor there is 4y. 4y. All right. 4y squared divided by 4y will give me y. That's how to get what the factor inside the bracket. All right. 12y divided by 4y, that's going to give me plus 3. Plus 3. All right. So the next thing here, to remember, my minus comes down. What's the factor here? You can see the highest common factor there is 7. It's 7. All right. So 7y divided by 7, that gives me y. When you get to the second term, all right, that is going to be minus 21 divided by minus 7. Of course, the minus cancels out, and what you have is plus 3 equal to 0. You can see that right now. Because if you don't apply that trick, you will end up saying that this is minus 3. And it is minus 3, of course, you know you're going to get it wrong. All right. So moving from here, you can see here that this repeats itself. So that means, obviously, that this becomes y plus 3, all right, into what's outside the bracket for y minus 7 equals to 0. We'll proceed as so that we can find the two answers or solutions to that. Moving forward, the first case, y plus 3 equals to 0. So that means that y is going to be equals to minus 3. The second case, 4y minus 7 equals to 0. That means 4y equals to 0 plus 7, 7. We have not finished because y has not yet been made a top of the formula. How do I do that? I divide both sides by 4, so y equals to 7 all over 4. And 7 all over 4 is the same thing as one whole number, 3 all over 4. So y is equals to minus 3, or y is equals to 3 all over 4 is 0.75. So 1.75 is equals to 1.75. So you can agree with me, using factorization method, we have arrived at the two solutions, two values for the variable. Let's move to the formula method. For the formula method, of course, don't forget, and for the same question, 4y squared plus 5y minus 21, the value of a is 4, the value of b is 5, and c is minus 21. So substituting it in, we can see minus b plus or minus b squared, that's 5 squared, minus 4ac, 4 times minus 21. It's interesting to see that in this case, the value of a is not 1, but the value of a is 4. So minus 4 times 4, that's minus 21. All right. So moving forward from there, we would have minus 5 plus or minus square root of 5 squared. You can see there that is 25. Minus 4 times minus 21. Using your calculator and putting this up, you are going to see that we will have 336. 336. All right. So that gives you minus, because minus times minus is plus, so that's plus 336 All right. 25 plus 336 gives you 361. 361. So moving forward, 2 times 4, that's 8. This is equals to minus 5 plus or minus square root of 361 all over 8. All over 8. So from there, by simplification, square root of 336 is going to give you 19. So this is minus 5 plus or minus 19 all over 8. 19 all over 8. So in the first case, we're going to have the y equals to minus 5 plus 19 all over 8. So from there, minus 5 plus 19 obviously gives us plus 14. So y equals to plus 14 all over 8. Plus 14 over all over 8. 2 goes here 4, 2 goes here 7. So we have 7 all over 4. Or you can say that y equals to 1 whole number 3 all over 4. I've said that this is 1.75. For the second case, y equals to minus 5 minus 19 all over 8. All over 8. Alright, so from there we have y equals to minus 5 minus 19 simply gives you minus 24 all over 8. Minus 24 all over 8 is going to give you minus 3. So y equals to minus 3. So you can see that we still have the value of y as the same. Though in the previous one we had y as minus 3 first and y as followed by y equals to 1 over 3 all over 4. But it doesn't matter the order, it's basically the same thing. So these are the roots of this quadratic equation. These are the solutions of this quadratic equation using factorization method and also using the formula method. So when solving problems, you can use any of the methods that fits you, any of the methods that you prefer. They are simple to go around with. They are easy to understand. All right. So thank you so much. See you in my next video.